Hey, subscribe to my channel. I love you.
Kaizoku.
This video is sponsored by Nen Garden. Their latest spring collection just dropped, featuring 3 new designs. My favorite one being the whole cake design. Look at all the details. To celebrate, they're running a spring sale. Buy one and get any classic mat 40% off with code SPRINGSALE. Plus, Nen10 automatically saves you 10% at checkout. And you can stack this with my code Kaizoku for an additional 5% off on top of that. This video is sponsored by gumgum.gg. Discover Western OP10 lists and Eastern OP11 lists on gumgum.gg. Updated daily. Be the first to see decks for new leaders as they emerge. With over 1,000 deck lists per set, gumgum.gg has all the top strategies as soon as they drop. This video is sponsored by Card Market, Europe's largest online marketplace for trading card games. Alright, we're going to be doing our first full week of post-ban OP10 ranked metadata analysis here. And here's our top 10 for this period. Now, I wanted to wait a full week before doing this because I didn't want like the initial doom posting and like shock reactions to the ban list to affect the stats. I still think 1 week is a little too early too, right? But I feel like 1 week is as good as the earliest time that I want to take a look at it. Because yeah, the chart that a lot of you probably have already seen was published on like March 20th, which was like, so the sim updated with the ban list at the very dead of night of like the 16th of March, like I think it was like 10 p.m. my time. So I'm just going to treat it as March 17th as like the first full day of ban list stats from the sim at least. And that's what, 17th, 18th, 19th, and then they published that report on the 20th. So that's 3 days of ranked sim data that a lot of people are making like sweeping conclusions with, which I don't think that's enough time. It was interesting to see like very early trends develop, but I think at least 1 week gave time for stuff to settle a little bit. I still don't think people are too confident in the like rankings as of yet, right? Just take all this with a grain of salt. Things will evolve as things get figured out and matchups get fine-tuned and tweaked. But yeah, with that out of the way, here's our top 10. So at first place, for the first time in a long time, it's Zoro. Zoro is the #1 deck in the meta right now, right? Zoro found a place with aggro in the meta to come back now that Blue Doflamingo lost Jinbei, all the black decks lost Gecko Moria and Ice Age, Enel auto dice to Blackbeard, so he might see less relevance in the meta right now. So yeah, he's up at #1 with a 53% win rate at the moment, weighted down to 52.8. Oh, let me explain my weighted win rate too, just so that you guys are confident in the math. So I'm using a combination of a Bayesian weighted smoothing to pull decks closer to the average win rate of all decks. So this gets rid of like really low play rate decks having high win rates showing up higher on the ranking. It actually keeps them down. Then on top of that, I also added a logarithmic scaling confidence factor to dampen it just a little bit more. And yeah, I made it logarithmic scaling because as the sample size grows, it'll get more confident in the actual win rate of a deck. So yeah, we see here like Doflamingo has like less matches in total compared to Zoro, but has a really high like actual win rate, 54.9. So it weighs it down 2%, right? It punishes it for having a low play rate, but it still acknowledges that it has an incredibly high win rate regardless of Jinbei's ban. So yeah, Doflamingo is second at a actual win rate of 54.9, weighted to 52, as we mentioned earlier. Up next is Shanks at a win rate of 52, weighted to 52. Basically, he's the most played deck, so it's completely fairly confident that Shanks' win rate is the actual win rate for the deck, right? 18k, it's far eclipses a lot of the decks on this list. Up next is Purple Luffy at 52, weighted to 51.9. Fifth is Bonnie. You guys can read the numbers by yourselves. And then Blackbeard next at 6th, finally going above 50% in win rate. I think it was hovering around like 50.5 for the longest time. So yeah, Blackbeard players are getting more used to it in the West, it looks like. Then Lucci at 7th. So yeah, Lucci, despite a lot of people doom posting it, losing a lot of his big tools, it's still a potent deck. I've experienced it firsthand playing on ranked. It's still a great deck, 51.6% win rate here. Weighted down to 50, yeah, because it's just not popular right now. A lot of people are not playing the deck just because they think it's like dead because of the cards it lost. But for the people who are playing it, you can see it's still putting in great results here. Piss Kid at 50% at 8th, and then Red Purple Luffy at 9th, and then Lim at 10th. And yeah, just for curiosity's sake, let's just look at a couple next few more. Let's go to 20. So Red Green Smoker at 11th, Blue Black Usopp at 12th, Katakuri at 13th, Bellobetty at 14th. We could see Bellobetty go higher as more of the people on the sim play her, right? I think the only thing punishing her is her play rate is like a lot lower than a lot of the decks that are above her that have a lower win rate. Then Bull Hancock at 15th, Smoker at 16th actually. Not completely dead, right? He's still in the top 20. He's always been kind of in the top 20, so almost nothing's changed for him actually. Sanji up though, 52% with the low play rate, so same with Bella Betty, could see it go up as more people are trying to play the deck out. Reiju at 18th. Surprisingly, Reiju is still a low play rate deck, but who knows, maybe people will switch to Reiju once they realize she's decently good into the meta, right? The Ichijis help get rid of all the 8-cost kid decks, plus Gamma Knife, right? Reiju has access to power reduction. And then starter deck 21 Luffy at 19th, but with a very, very low win percentage. It's probably carried by the fact that it's not like the lowest play rate decks, right? People are at least trying them out. Same with the Green Yellow Law, 39 here. So that's the top 20. Let's take a look at the details for the top 10 of the leaders here, the matchups for them. Yeah, we'll just take a look at Mr. Number 1 himself. So Zoro is sitting pretty at 52% win rate going first, 54 going second. So you want to go second if you can, and I'm guessing that's with the Animal Zoo build because you get to like develop a 3-drop and leave a down up for Shut Up and Come With Us. I would assume that's the reason why second is higher. And yeah, great into Red Purple Luffy, great into Blackbeard, great into Red Green Smoker, because I think all the Zoros now run 4 Mulgun, which is like the kid killer, right? It pops the Rosinante they have on board and then makes their kid into a 3k power character. Good into Bella Betty, so it's aggro versus aggro. Zoro seems to eke out that win there. Good into Yellow Katakuri, and then slightly favored into Shanks and Boa too. Boa did lose Jinbei, so that could mean that Boa has less bodies to attack back into the animals that Zoro develops. But yeah, weak against Lucci. He's always been weak against Lucci. Lucci's just able to destroy everybody that Zoro pumps out. And he'll run out of steam eventually. Piss Kid also, the fact that he can heal and then develop blockers, or like make blockers every turn, helps keep all the choppers at bay. Blue Doflamingo also historically good into Zoro. He didn't lose 4-cost Law, the Bounce Law, which is like the card that counters Red Zoro. He can never keep anything on board if you keep recurring your Law, right? So he doesn't have the Jinbei anymore, but he still has the card that counters other aggro decks. It was not hit at all. And then good into Bonnie too, because Mulgun is out, 8-cost Kid is not really a reliable strategy against Red anymore. And then Usopp just poops on Zoro. Literally everything in a Usopp deck kills something on Zoro's board. Right, 4-cost Zoro himself, another Zoro character, pops something. You play Rebecca, you can play a Zoro and a Kairos. So Kairos bounces something, the second Zoro KOs another character. The Rebecca can attack into a rested character with Pseudo Rush, and so can the Kairos, plus the leader. So yeah, it's really, really good at dealing with the Zoro board. Surprisingly, Purple Luffy, I keep saying Purple Luffy as a deck that is strong into Red Zoro, and I don't know why. Because historically, from my experience, this is the opposite, but maybe there's like a new Purple Luffy build that does really well into Zoro. Is it that Doflamingo Purple Luffy build? But yeah, that's just what the ranked stats show. I don't actually know how these matches actually end up looking like. I haven't played this matchup in a while. And loses to Lim too. Yeah, I've experienced this one firsthand for sure. Freaking Newgate is like the bane of our existence. And then looking at number 2, which is Doflamingo. So yeah, Doflamingo, despite being hit from the ban list by losing Jinbei, still putting up really, really good numbers, 54.9% win rate overall. Has a 57 to 51% win rate going first versus second, so still a go first kind of deck. Yeah, it still demolishes Blackbeard, beats Lim, beats Boa, beats Purple Luffy, beats Zoro, beats Katakuri, beats Bella Betty, beats Red Purple Luffy, beats Red Green Smoker. But yeah, weak against Usopp for the same reasons Zoro is weak against Usopp. Also weak against Lucci. That's why I think Lucci is like poised to still be really relevant in the meta. If number 1 is Zoro, number 2 is Doflamingo, Lucci beats both of them, so how is he not an A tier deck? Loses to Piss Kid for the same reasons that Zoro loses to Piss Kid. And then slightly unfavored into Shanks at the moment, and I do think a lot of Shanks are running like a more aggro build. But I think it's slowly shifting back to the control build, and yeah, that's just where his weak matchups end, because the next one up is himself. So let's take a look at Shanks up next. So Shanksy boy is 3rd. So nearly identical win rate going first or second, 52 to 53, so it doesn't really matter. That's the flexibility of playing Shanks. It's really reliable, right? The dice roll doesn't affect whether you win or lose a game, it looks like. Not too much. But yeah, good into Usopp, good into Lim, good into Red, Yellow, Bella Betty, good into Smoker, good into Bonnie, good into Purple Luffy, and then good into Lucci as well. And Boa as well. And then yeah, that very, very ever so slightly advantage into Doflamingo. Especially with Jinbei gone, it must be like a giant relief, right? Having to not chuck an extra card every turn to defend. But weak against Red Purple Luffy, I'm guessing because Red Purple Luffy can ramp to the 10-cost Shanks before even Shanks can, so you can't really deal with it after that. Weak to Katakuri, because 10-cost Big Mom just makes him trash alive, I'm guessing. Weak into Blackbeard, weak into Zoro, and then That's all his weak matchup. So yeah, Shanks poised to be a top meta contender for sure. And then we have Purple Luffy at 4th. So good into Boa, good into Usopp, good into Lucci, good into Piss Kid, good into Katakuri. So yeah, this Lucci matchup used to be flipped, and I'm guessing losing Ice Age is what gives Luffy the advantage here. Because it's a lot harder to pop that Luffy Toro plus Sangoro combo now without Ice Age. I think with what I figured out with the Utas and Hinas, you can only pop one body a turn still. So you get rid of like their 4-drop, you get rid of the Luffy Taro, they'll still keep their 5-drop. I know there's like a 2-cost event that gives like -7 cost that can maybe help, but you have to like take a life to use it. That might be like a tech option for Lucci into Purple Luffy if that matchup is too troublesome. And then beats Blackbeard as he always has, beats Lim. And then yeah, this Zoro matchup, I really am curious to see how that is the case. But yeah, weak against Green Bonnie, weak against Doflamingo, weak against Red Yellow Bello Betty. So it's weird, like Zoro's aggro he can deal with, but Bello Betty's he can't. Or maybe there's just something different about the high-ranking Purple Luffy players on the sim right now. And then he loses to Shanks, slightly loses to Red Green Smoker here. Take a look at the Bonnie up next, number 5. So Bonnie, you want to go first, it looks like, 53 versus 48. But also it's matchup dependent too, but if you're not sure, it looks like on average first is better. So good into Red Purple Luffy, good into Piss Kid, good into Purple Luffy, good into Katakuri, good into Red Yellow Bello Betty. And Boa and Lim and Zoro, and that's it. Weak against Lucci. Historically, she has been, and even more so now that they don't run the Basil Hawkins blocker anymore in the deck. Loses to Teach, Usopp, and Shanks, and then Red Green Smoker, and Doflamingo. Then we'll look at Teach, which a lot of people are hyped up on it being like the best deck in the format. So yeah, it has a better win rate going second at least, and still hovering like 51% win rate overall. So people just need to get more used to playing it, I guess. But historically has beaten Lucci. This doesn't change even now, especially since he lost like Ice Age, right? I don't know, it's kind of weird. When I was posting my Lucci matches, people were like, if you're so good, why don't you post your Blackbeard matches? Lucci lost to Blackbeard even before the ban list. I don't know why you would think a ban list would make Lucci good into Blackbeard all of a sudden. I don't really get that logic there, but yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Yeah, good into Bonnie, Katakuri, who cannot use any on plays. Red Purple Luffy cannot ramp unless you're playing like the event version, but then their late game can't use their on plays either. Piss Kid as well. Piss Kid just can't heal with the law or make you trash with the Kid, A-cost Kid. Good into Shanks, and that's it for his strong matchups. Weak matchups, he loses to like every aggro deck, right? Doflamingo swarms, Zoro swarms, Lim swarms, Bello Betty swarms, and then I guess Usopp is just tricky to deal with because all of his characters get +1 cost on board due to his leader ability. And then Purple Luffy, historically, Blackbeard didn't do too well into him. Nearly 50-50 with Red Green Smoker though, interestingly enough. And then we'll take out Lucci, my boy, the leader I've been playing the most recently. So I'm a little biased towards it, but it's my video, so yeah, 51 versus 52 going first against second, and then has a good matchup into Boa, like really good matchup, 82% win rate. Good into Piss Kid, good into Zoro, good into Bonnie, good into Red Green Smoker, good into Doflamingo, good into Bello Betty, good into Lim, and then it goes to himself after that. Weak against Usopp. Historically, this is still true because of that +1 cost for the same reason that Blackbeard is weak into Usopp. It's just really annoying to account for this +1 cost breakpoint for his KO. Yeah, against Blackbeard, you just don't get to KO unless you you have to like draw all your Kaidos and Jacks, and like there's no way to search for them in your deck, so it's a little bit RNG dependent, but I don't think it's unwinnable, but very, very unfavored. And then yeah, that hit to Lucci affected him the most in the Purple Luffy matchup, it looks like. Now he's actually weak against it. For now, Lucci decks could tech more into Purple Luffy in the future, so this is just like 1 week post-ban. Weak into Katakuri, weak into Shanks, and then 50-50 with Red Purple Luffy. So yeah, I feel this Shanks matchup has been like the most interesting for me. I tech heavily into Shanks, maybe that's why I don't have as much of an issue. So yeah, you just kind of have to pick. Do you want to tech into tall characters like Shanks, or you want to tech into wide characters like Purple Luffy? Right, Gecko Moria doesn't solve all your issues now, you have to like pick. And up next is Piss Kid, which is a nickname that I'll never let die. So sorry if you hate it. So yeah, 48 versus 52 going first against second. So going second is better with Kid. Good into Bello Betty, Katakuri, Red Purple Luffy, Doflamingo, and Usopp. Weak against Lucci, Bonnie, Lim, Blackbeard, and Purple Luffy. Then we have Red Purple Luffy at 9th. Has nearly identical win rate going first or second. That is also a positive, right? You can go first or second and still show the same results statistically speaking here. Good into Boa, Usopp, Shanks, Lim, Purple Luffy, and then weak against Bello Betty. Really weak against Bello Betty. I guess being a 3-life leader and then Bello Betty being able to like throw out like 3 8k attacks on her like third turn or something. It's just too much for Red Purple Luffy to handle. Weekend to Bonnie, because Bonnie can just rest his big characters every turn and they can't really do much. Weekend to Zoro for the same reason that Bella Betty's good into him, right? 3 life is really dangerous against these really quick decks. Weak against Kid, that's interesting. I don't have enough knowledge about this matchup to know why. And then yeah, Blackbeard and Doflamingo also weak matchups. And then Red Green Smoker 2 and Katakuri is almost even. And lastly, the number 10th deck is Lim. So Lim might be having an easier time in the meta without Ice Age around. And Enel too, I think Enel did numbers on Lim. But yeah, Lim going first versus going second. You can see here, it really benefits you to go first instead of second. First win rate is 58, going second gives you a 37. So really risky deck to play, but get into Piss Kid, Teach, Usopp, Boa, Zoro, Red Green Smoker, and then weak against Doflamingo, Red Purple Luffy, Shanks, Bella Betty, and Bonnie, and Purple Luffy, and Lucci, and it kind of goes even with Katakuri. So those are the top 10 leader summaries. Let's take a look at mirrors. So this is my mirror risk analysis. It takes a look at if you were to play in the mirror in a tournament setting, how risky it would be, right? And this takes into account like how popular the deck is. The more popular the deck is, the more likely you're going to face the mirror matchup with it. And then I take a look at how it does going first versus going second into the mirror. And then I just show you the most riskiest decks, and it looks like Blackbeard is the riskiest leader to play in the mirror. The Blackbeard that goes second seems to win, 61% versus 38, and it's like 13.94% play rate as of the last week on the sim. So if we extrapolate that into tournament attendance, if everyone's playing Blackbeard and you happen to go first into a Blackbeard mirror, you're not going to have a good time. Up next after that is Purple Luffy. So Purple Luffy's play rate has gone down since. He used to be number 1, but still has a crazy insane variance here, 68 to 31. But because his play rate went down, maybe a little less risky, but still number 2, right? Similarly, we saw with Lim a little bit ago, 3.64% play rate, but a variance difference of 47% between these two. That's the highest, it looks like. And then Shanks after that, being a 17% play rate deck, going second versus going first in the mirror seems to net you a 9% difference in win rate. And then Smoker after that, where you want to go first. Then Zoro, where you want to go second. And then Bonnie, where you want to go first. Then Red Purple Luffy, where you want to go first. And then Piss Kid, where you want to go second. Usopp, you want to go second. Doflamingo, you want to go first. And these are all the riskiest decks that have any sort of risk at all. I think anything under this is just like not played enough that you probably don't have to worry about facing the mirror. You still could, it's no guarantee that you're not going to, but statistically speaking, you should be fine. Let's take a look at card usage, and we'll take a look at the decks that were hit by the ban list the most just to see what they like substituted in. We'll look at Shanks too, because yeah, Shanks has so many builds at the moment. So yeah, there's this starter deck 21 Rush Luffy that is the de facto 5-drop in the deck. It's no longer Marco or the Ace. Right, 72% of the Shanks decks run it. Surprisingly, not every deck runs the 10 cost Shanks. That's weird. But average quantity of 3, they're not running it as a 4 of anymore. And I'm guessing Zoro is the Zoo build. We could see like the buggy build with the events and then the curly Dons. Would be surprised if I see that. So Zoro here, yeah, looks like Zoo. Zoo is still the way to play it. But yeah, we see some people start going back to the basics like Marco, Buggy, Magra and stuff, but only 4% of the Zoro decks in the last week have played these cards. And then Doflamingo would be nice to see, right? What have they substituted in for Jinbei? So yeah, I think Red Rock is something people are running more of. It looks like somebody's trying out the 9-cost Mihawk and then the 9-cost Sanji and 3000 Worlds. I'm pretty sure it's just upping the quantity of the starter deck Gecko Moria here. If they weren't running it as a 4 of before, it's definitely a 4 of now. Yeah, actually nothing too surprising here. Doflamingo already had a pretty figured out package. Let's take a look at Lucci. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some Mancherries here because that's what I started playing in the deck. Yep, Mancherry, 100% usage, average quantity of 2. Do we see Uta here? No Uta. So top ranking Lucci players aren't playing the Uta. I like it, but I want to try out this Brook too to deal with the Jesus Burgess. I think that'd be nice. Soap Sheep is at a usage rate of 20%. So is the Finger Pistol. And yeah, people are running more copies of Hina. Average quantity of 3 at the minimum at the moment. And then more Jack and Kaido. Looks like 3 and 2 is the ratio that most people run. That's what I run too. And I don't run Sabos, but a lot of people do, so maybe I should consider it. Oh, Annals here too. Let's see what they run instead of Kingdom Come. Okay, some people are running the 8-cost kid. They want to go aggro. This is like one guy's deck, because they're all 100%. So yeah, this is somebody's Annal deck in the 1 billion bounty plus meta range. Sorry, I'm exposing your tech on screen here. But it looks like they're like an aggro Annal, kind of, right? They burn with the kid and the Robins. I'm curious to try this. Maybe this will be my next video. Sorry, I'm stealing your deck. If this is your deck, let me know and I'll give you credit in the description below. Let's see what Smoker is doing without Ice Age and Gecko Moria. Okay, looks like this is just one guy's list, so there's only one Smoker that is 1 billion bounty plus at the moment. They're running the Banished Smoker, no, Double Attack Smoker, interesting, and Isho, and the Stussies, everything else is pretty standard. So yeah, they're adapting in really wild different ways than Lucci is. No Mancherries at all in this deck. Then is there BY Luffy? I don't see it. So there's no BY Luffys that are 1 billion bounty plus post-ban. I mean, I would love to be pleasantly surprised if there's like still a good build for it, but I don't see it here. So yeah, if it's not here, you guys have to be the one to be that statistic to show up in my video. So get to climbing. I guess I could show you deck lists, but it would be almost the same as the card usage here, right? It would just be streamlined to like one particular person's deck. Like this guy's Shanks list. Yeah, 3 10 cost Shanks, 2 Divine Departures, 3 Dragons, and then 3 of the Starter Deck 21 Luffy. We can look if Teach maybe change some cards around to handle this new meta. Yeah, they run 4 of the Shiryu. This is new, right? Because of Zoro's prominence in the meta, like Shiryu is a way to kill their 3-drops. This is actually a development that is unique to the West. Really cool. And yeah, it looks like they cut the Laboons. 1 Katarina Devon in this guy's deck. Oh yeah, this event is a new tech choice too. I bid 500 million. It's I think it's purely used just for the trigger, because the trigger lets you KO a 6 cost character or bounce it back to hand. And then it's never a dead card in hand because of Blackbeard's leader ability. You could always chuck it to deny on plays. So I do like that. That's a really cool adaptation that we've made here in the West. Is Usopp doing anything different post ban? Nope. This looks like pretty much the same Usopp list I run. Well, not 4 of Zoro, that's interesting. What about OP10 Smoker? Ooh, they're running more of the Starter Deck 21 Luffy. This particular list at least. That has a 51% win rate with the deck. And yeah, Ben Beckman is great. Hody is great. But nothing new, right? What's new? It's just this Luffy that's new. It's hogging that 5 cost slot with the Smoker. What would you run? I guess, yeah, in my version of the deck, I ran like the Doflamingo Pirates Searcher. So you just go more aggro with this Luffy here. Is Bonnie doing anything different? This Bonnie is every Bonnie deck list in the world. Nothing new here. Oh yeah, let's take a look at Doflamingo to see what exactly the ratios are. Yeah, 4 of the Gecko, 4 of the Red Rocks. I guess this is the deal with Bonnie and Smoker. Let's take a look at Purple Luffy to see why he's good into Zoro now. I mean, is it because everyone's running 3 of the 9 cost Big Moms now? Oh, this Chopper too becomes a blocker every turn. Luffy TV tech. That could be it, right? 9 Mom and then the Chopper blockers, providing you extra defense. And then these Sanjis are 3 of now. That can really deal with your opponent's board really well. Yeah, I could kind of see that making sense. Now let's take a look at Lucci to close off the video just so I can compare it to my own list. I'm nearly at 1 billion bounty plus, so maybe my deck will start showing up in these stats now, but this is not my deck. So yeah, 3 Hinas. I run it as a 4 of, I like it a lot more. 4 Kuzans. Maybe they prefer having the Kuzan over the Hina. I like having the on play, but I guess Kuzan works even against Blackbeard. Yeah, top end is similar ratios to me. 2 Spandine, I like Spandine 2. I run more 2Ks, I think. Yeah, he's running 8 only. I think 8 is too low now without Gecko Moria, so I run 12 in mine. This Brook is good into Jesus Bridges. I want to try it out too. Yeah, Mancherry is great at recurring all the things you want to do with this deck. Oh, he runs Susu, so he runs 10. Or they. I don't know if the gender of the person here. Sorry for misgendering. Yeah, 10 at the least, right? But I use all of my 2K slots for cost reduction, and then yeah, the Kaku, and then the leader itself. So yeah, it looks like a lot of people are trying to kind of trending the same way with Lucci now, right? Mancherries and Hinas, and getting value off of that. I personally don't like Stussy or Sabo in the deck, but maybe you have more success with it. I just feel like those are 2 cards that aren't good into Blackbeard, so like against every other match, I feel like I can KO just fine with Hina and Kaidos and Jax, so I don't want a win more card for the deck. That does nothing for our losing matchups. Okay, so I guess that's all I have to show you. I showed quite a lot though, so hope you guys like this 1 week in meta snapshot. And before I get questions about it, you can't get access to this dashboard because I made it custom myself. And then TCG matchmaking, this is their ranked data, so I don't want to be an asshole and then charge money for their data. So if you want access to the live stats, check out their Patreon. Yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think of these stats, what you predict will change as the weeks come. I'm sure it will change, right? It's so turbulent right now. Things are going to get figured out. I think there's still tournaments coming up really soon, so I think that's going to change a lot of people's perceptions on a lot of these decks too. Hopefully Lucci puts in some good work to show that this deck is still nothing to scoff at, so that I can stop making Lucci videos myself. Right, once that happens, I'll lose interest in making so many like shitpost videos about him. But until then, yeah, subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Check out my other videos, and yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Car D Kaizoku.